That was fun. Oh, I hit the record button instead of the stop button.
Welcome to Shelf Indulgence, where stories come alive in conversation. I'm Remy, your host and first-time reader, turning the pages alongside each guest as they revisit a book that has left its mark on them. Together, we linger over passages, chase down themes, and wander through the margins of a story worth revisiting. Whether you're turning the pages for the first time with me or revisiting a favorite alongside my guest, I'm glad you've joined us on this journey. I'm Remy, and today I am joined by my very first guest, Michael. We're going to be exploring the book Wool by Hugh Howey, and it's the first of three, if I'm not mistaken, right? Or are there more out there that I don't know about?
Just the three, yeah.
Just the three. Okay. So, welcome to the podcast, Michael.
Thank you.
First question out the gate is why Wool? What made you pick this book to share?
Well, to be completely honest here, my favorite book is Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, but we've both read that. So Wool is my second favorite book. And so the reason I love Wool so much is because, like all good sci-fi, it asks big questions about how we as humanity would react in certain situations. And I really love the writing style of Hugh Howey, the way he kind of handles the different ideas, the way he, trickles out information, leaves you on the edge of your seat, like wondering what's going on, trying to figure it out. The characters are incredibly rich. They aren't two-dimensional like in a lot of stories out there. And I just really was sucked into the world of Wool, and I couldn't get enough. Awesome. That makes me even more excited to read it. Do you remember how you came across it in the first place? Yeah. So my ex-wife, Athena, she had downloaded the first chapter, I guess you'd call it, which was just a short story called Wool at the time. She had downloaded it for free, and we had it like on our Kindle for a while, and I didn't know anything about it. She read it and she told me I should check it out. Probably months, maybe years went by before I finally actually got around to reading it. Right? That's how it is with ADHD.
Yeah, I completely understand.
And so when I finally read it, I just thought it was incredible and I needed more.
That's awesome.
And so it ends up, what happened was Hugh Howey wrote this short story, Wool, and put it out there for free. He self-published it on Amazon, and fans ate it up and loved it and demanded more. And so he expanded on that story and turned it into a book. Again, fans wanted more.
3 books.
He wrote a sequel until he ended up with 3 books, exactly. And so that original short story, Wool, which the entire first book ended up being called Wool as well. But that short story was my introduction, and it was great. The world that he created in such a short amount of time just left me going, what is this? I want more. I need more.
How short a story are we talking?
I meant to double check before we jumped on, but I forgot to. Okay. I was actually going to recommend that is where our stopping point should be, because it's a natural stopping point. You get the introduction to the world, you get an introduction to some of the characters, and then you get this like kind of cliffhanger moment that leaves you wanting to talk about it. So I think that's where, when we do our cutoff, we should do it. I don't remember how long it is, so we could look it up if we wanted to.
Where I've currently got us set to for this first part is where it enters part 2, the proper gauge. So we'd be reading the entire part 1, which is called Holston. Does that sound?
Yes, that is the short story.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Oh, beautiful.
Holston,
okay, so
Holston
that's
is
what I've
the first
marked.
part. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Fantastic. Okay, cool. So that's what we'll be doing, folks. If you want to read along, we'd love to have you along with us on this journey.
I'm excited.
So am I, dude. I really am. So you read quite a lot, right?
Not really.
Oh, okay.
No, I love to read, but I have ADHD. And so that means I have a hard time sticking to things. In fact, there's a book that I'm in the middle of right now called Robopocalypse that I started 10 years ago when it first came out, maybe more than that. And I read about half of it and I liked it, but I put it down and stopped. And then, 10 years later, I'm like, I'm going to go back and read that. And so I picked it up. I got about halfway through and put it down and stopped again. And I haven't picked up any books since then. But some books really catch me and I can't stop reading. And that's what I really love. That's why I'm not talking about Robopocalypse here. I'm talking about Wool, because Wool is one of those books that when I jumped in, I couldn't put it down. And so I will read a lot when I get into something. Like I started getting into Discworld recently, which if we do another episode at some point, I might recommend one of those to read with you.
What are we talking? Color or Magic? That's correct.
That's the first one. Yeah. Yeah. That's not the best one.
I have picked up that book 3 times, read the first chapter on
Color of
vacation.
Magic is hard to read.
It's nothing to do with the book. I read on vacation. I'll read whatever I do on vacation. Then when I get back home, I just kind of forget it exists.
Yeah.
So
I get that.
I've done that with that book, I think 3 times now.
But certain books don't let you forget they exist.
100% agree with that.
Going back to your earlier question of do I read a lot? When I get sucked into something like Discworld, I read a lot. When I originally discovered Wool, I read all of the Wool, or they've been, I don't remember the word for it, but, named in retrospect, the Silo series.
Because of the Apple TV show.
He renamed it the Silo series when he had already done all 3 books. And
no kidding. Okay, so the Apple TV show came afterward.
Yeah, it got renamed to Silo, the Silo series, cool. And then Apple called it Silo, of course, because it was called the Silo series. I was hoping they call it Wool, but it's fine. That's what the book.
I'm glad they didn't. I'm not going to lie. I kind of hate the name Wool simply because it's hard for me to pronounce.
That's fair. You'll understand why it's called Wool after you read Holston.
Fair enough.
And it will make a lot more sense and it will fit really well. But I get you, the name Wool itself isn't very intriguing. It doesn't tell you anything.
It's a clunky word. Yeah.
It is. It's a clunky word. It's a clunky title. And the Silo series, I don't know, maybe it's a little bit more intriguing because it tells you a little bit more of what it's about. And just to kind of give a summary, is now a good time to do that?
Just spoiler free.
Yeah. Spoiler free summary. To give a quick little summary, the universe that you're introduced to in Holston is a world where everybody lives in this silo underground. It's like a reverse silo. It goes down instead of up. And it's huge. It's massive. And they have runners that go up and down between the levels to send messages. And but everybody lives inside this silo and knows nothing of the outside world. They've been in there for X number of years. I can't say how many years, but all you know at the beginning is it's been a long time. And to the point nobody remembers before times. All they remember is time in the silo. People that we are introduced to the book have grown up in the silo and they were born there, their parents were born there, that sort of thing. And they have this big view screen to the outside world. And the outside world is a desolate wasteland. And that's what they know. All they know is that if you say you want to go outside, the crime is you go outside. And I don't want to say too much more because even though it's not really a spoiler for the overall series, it's kind of a nice little way of getting into it when you learn about what all of this means to the characters. And so it's this just intriguing world of how do you live like that? You never get to see grass. You never see the sun. And you don't know anything of these things. You've never experienced, sun on your face.
Just what you've read in books or something of that nature. Just whatever's left over from the before,
or whatever.
Okay,
I can't say too much.
Let me stop asking questions. Okay, going back to books real quickly. Are you typically more of a physical book reader, ebook person, audiobook person? How do you normally consume?
So my preferred way of reading a book is ebook. And that goes back to my ADHD. So I have a hard time with paper books because I lose my place. I can't read in bed at night with the lights off, without like a lamp on or something like that. And I have to carry it around and like know what I want to read. Whereas with Kindle or ebooks, I have it all in one place. It fits in my back pocket. It fits in a backpack easily, wherever I want to put a jacket pocket, whatever. I have all my books, knows exactly where I am. Yeah, it can be synced to other devices if I need to, and it has a backlight, so like I can read it anywhere. And so I prefer that. And I use the Paperwhite because I want that distraction-free, paper-emulated feel, because I do like that of books. I don't like reading on a screen, but the e-ink displays, eliminate that worry. I don't have like my notifications from my phone on there to distract me, so it helps. But it's not to say I don't like audiobooks or reading on a regular book, of course. Like I've listened to my fair share of audiobooks as my go-to because like back in the day when I used to deliver pizzas, it was entertainment that I could get through so many books just like driving around and, pause when I go deliver the pizza and come back and resume and pick up where I left off. And it was exciting, especially when you have a really good narrator, someone like Jim Dale, who does a great job with the Harry Potter series.
The Harry Potter books. Some of the best.
I used to actually have this debate, and I think I've probably had this conversation with you back in the day. Like, can you say you read the book when you listen to the audiobook?
Absolutely.
What do you feel?
Yes.
Yeah, you think so?
I absolutely. Absolutely.
I agree with you nowadays.
Oh, back then you didn't? Okay. Interesting.
I didn't. I felt weird about it. I felt like I couldn't say that I read the book because I didn't fully use my imagination to getting into these characters. I had somebody giving me a voice and tone and how things were said.
Okay.
And I feel like it's a different medium when you do that. It's not quite the same as reading a book where all of it you have to get from the page.
Yeah. I won't argue that. It's certainly a different medium.
I felt like I couldn't say that I read the book. I felt like I had to say I listened to the book.
Nah. I think as long as you consume the story and got engaged in it, unless it's on in the background and you're not actually listening to it, it's kind of just there. I think that if you've engaged with the story, you've truly listened, then I think you can say that you've read it.
Yeah, and I do now. At this point in time, I do say that I read the book. I don't qualify it with I listened to the audiobook unless it's something like this where we're actually talking about the different mediums.
Do you typically reread or?
No.
Oh, really?
I don't.
You don't typically reread? So this is going to be a rare exception for you.
It's a rare exception of rereading a book.
Kind of
and
exciting.
This is one I'm excited to reread because I absolutely love it so much.
That's very exciting.
I often think about that. I want to reread books that I love. I've reread Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy multiple times.
Sure, that I expected.
But I think that's the only one. And when I say multiple times, I mean like I've reread it. I've listened to the audiobook again, as read by Douglas Adams. I've, of course, rewatched the movies and the shows multiple times. It's like my favorite universe, and I love it so much. But most of the time, books are too long to reread for my limited attention span. And I feel like I'm wasting time rereading something when I could be reading the next new thing that I wanted to get to on my list, because like there are too many books that I want to read. I'm never going to get to all of them. Movies, on the other hand, which are my favorite medium, are 2 hours. Like it's a lot shorter
very consumable
engagement. I don't have to commit to it for a long time. I mean, TV shows that are serialized, same sort of thing, but it's like a longer, 8 hours or however long the show is. And I don't tend to rewatch shows either for the same reason, because it's so much time when I can be moving on to the next one.
It is. You're absolutely right.
But books, I want to, but I don't.
That's my approach with video games as well. I used to replay video games, used to play the hell out of video games, but now I'm going to go through the story, I'm going to put it away and move on with my life. I 100% understand and agree with that. So moving back to Wool, is the dystopian post-apocalyptic story a go-to for you, or is this, because I know you do sci-fi. Yeah. Okay, cool. I thought so.
Like I love dystopian movies and shows and stories in general. I love them because I feel like they're kind of a warning for us as humanity of what could happen. But also I find dystopia full of hope, because Like some major event happens, destroys the world in some way, whether it's monsters or man just dropping a bomb or, whatever it is, zombies, whatever. And it's how we survive after these terrible things happen. What do we do? How do we bond together? There was this show called Revolution. I think it was a J.J. Abrams show, and it only got like one season. I don't even know if it finished the season. It didn't have great reviews. But what I loved about it was how it showed how people like figured shit out, like how they were kind of forced to go back to like growing their own crops and how everybody in the town had to get together and work together to make society successful. And I really love that.
It got 2 seasons, and I recommend you don't watch the second season.
The second one.
Don't bother.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, don't bother, you're saying? Okay.
Yeah. Don't bother with the second season.
I'll stick with my positive memories of the first one.
That's exactly what I was going to say. I loved the first season of that show. It had such intrigue. It was, I actually didn't realize it was J.J. Abrams. I was just about to say it was a very much a what's in the box type situation.
Unless you just looked it up, I'm not 100% sure on that. That's just what my memory is saying.
No, okay. I did not. But if it is,
you can look it up and let us know if we're right or wrong.
Yeah, right. If it wasn't J.J. Abrams, then they mimicked his style very well, because he does the what's in the box approach, right? Mm-hmm. The mystery box, as it were. And that show did that so beautifully until you found out what was in the box, and it was not as beautiful.
It was not created by J.J. Abrams, but he was an executive producer. And then also my scroll just randomly landed on one of the actors' names, Michael Rourke, spelt different, but like, what the hell? I thought I had a unique name here. Anyway.
Nope.
Guess not. Just some random actor in Revolution, like,
that's so
6
funny.
pages down. But
that's really funny. How random. So heading back over to Wool, is there anything that you want to say about the book before people start diving in? Because we're about to wrap up here. And is there anything you want to preface the book with, spoiler free, of course, before we jump in?
I mean, just go read it and like read the short story / first part, Holston, as your intro. And if you're not hooked after Holston, it's not for you. But if you are, oh my goodness, read all 3 books. You're not going to be able to put them down. In fact, I'm worried, Remy, that you're going to read that and you're not going to want to stop.
Nope.
You're going to need to know the rest.
I am so disciplined. I'll do it. Don't you fret.
We're just gonna have to jump into it. Like, I know that when I'm done reading it, I'm gonna want to message you and like, oh yeah, did you finish? Or I just finished, or like, and get your thoughts. But then we're not gonna have it as
you're gonna have to save it.
I'm gonna have to wait until we're on this to talk about it.
That's right.
I'm gonna be so excited. But yeah, for anybody who hasn't read it and wants to read along with us, I highly recommend it. It's a great book, great story, and unlike what I've heard about Lost, other than from Remy, I feel like he knew where he was going from the beginning. And
I do appreciate that.
The end, the way they concluded book 3 felt intentional and satisfactory. And I really appreciated that. I probably wouldn't be talking about Wool as strongly if I felt that they let down the end.
They dropped the ball.
But I felt he really... he delivered, and it was great, and I felt satisfied.
I love hearing that. I'm even more stoked to read it now. So yeah, let's jump in. For the remainder of the discussion on this podcast, listener, we'll be covering up to the end of chapter 7, which is what we just talked about. What was that called? Holston, you said?
Holston. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So part 1, which is apparently the short story. I had no idea. If you're listening along, this is an official spoiler warning because we're about to switch over to our review of the book, or us talking about the book. But really, you should think of this as a book sleeve for the show. It'll give you a good look as to what to expect. So if you pause now and come back after you read up to chapter 7, or you're rolling right through with us, I hope you enjoy. And with that, let's get into it.
All right, let's go.
Right, and we are back. Well, that was a hell of a read. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I just finished it this morning.
Nice.
And just diving directly in. The the dedication for those who dare to hope. Every book has a dedication. You don't really think anything of it. You kind of pass by it. I did exactly that. So after reading it, I was kind of flipping through the book, making notes and, pulling out pieces that I wanted to focus on and yada, yada, et cetera, et cetera. And I stumbled across that. I'm like, oh shit, that is a lot more poignant to the story than I thought it would be.
I think dedications often are, like you read them and, you don't really think much about them because you haven't read the book yet. But then
that's
once
exactly
you
it, yeah.
think about it, they're usually relevant to the story that they want to tell. And I really appreciate that as well. In fact, I hadn't really thought about it either when I read it until you just said it. And it immediately made me start thinking about how, our previous conversation, I was talking about how one of the things about dystopia that I love so much is that, hope that you have in the ability for society to come together and fix the problem.
Yeah, because that's all that's left. Yeah, exactly. I thoroughly appreciated it because exactly what you just said. You don't really think about it until you do. But yeah, diving directly into the story. The first line, I mean, what a hook. The children were playing while Holston climbed to his death. I mean, what the hell, dude? That is one hell of a hook.
Yeah, right.
The second I read that, I'm like, oh shit, I'm in. Like, here we go. This is what I'm looking for. And it actually, I know we've talked about it recently, and I don't think it was on the podcast, but when we were setting up for the podcast, it reminded me of one of my favorite con movies, Confidence, because the first line in that movie is, "So I'm dead." And then it goes from there. And I just love that as a hook. It's like, this is almost exactly the same thing. It's like, oh, okay. So we're in it already.
Yeah.
You're not going to have you a second to breathe. Just jumping directly in.
Yeah. Like the narrator in both cases knows they're either going to die or are dead. They're starting out the story to telling us, I'm going to die by the end of this.
Yeah, here's the ending, and here's how we got here. Kind of fascinating. And I really appreciated the on that first page. I mean, where you haven't even gotten past page 1 here, and I'm looking at the. It always amazed him how the century of bare palms, shuffling feet could wear down solid steel, and that's always been something I've thought about for years. My dad used to work in a power plant that was all steel, of course, and it's been operating for forever as far as I'm concerned. And it has those dips and those steel stairs. They've got slight arc to them. And it was just, it made it feel very real. And the way that it was introduced, I just really appreciate the imagery that's being painted here.
Yeah, I was also thinking about that when I first read that because, in our previous conversation, I was trying really careful not to present any spoilers. And obviously, as you probably said at the intro, before we get to this part, this is a full, not spoiler free conversation now.
Yeah, for this part at least.
Yeah. So if you're still listening, spoilers.
Yep.
So in the previous conversation, I was talking about how if you say you want to go outside, you go outside. And I was careful about how I said that because I couldn't remember how early in the story they reveal that going outside means death. And that is the punishment. The law is like, you don't say you want to go outside. And the punishment for saying you want to go outside is to go outside.
Is going outside. Yeah. Careful. You get exactly what you want. That was wild to me. Like that is such an interesting concept and I've got that written down when we approach that later on, but such a bizarre and interesting concept to have what you're actually wanting to be your punishment. It's like, what a trip. I really dug that. And the way that the author is painting the world and setting it up very subtly, just kind of letting it be what it is. I'm enjoying the writing style and I'm enjoying the metaphors and the way, like on the next page, what is it? The actual verbiage. Oh yeah. The children, he's talking about the children alive and unworn, dripping happy sounds down the stairwell. It's like that just paints such a grim kind of grimy feel to where they are. It's like, as you might imagine, however many years, I think it was 100 plus. He says centuries. Give a specification.
He says centuries. Yeah, actually, that's another one I highlighted personally because I had mentioned earlier, like I'd said that, for generations at least they had been born there, but I didn't want to reveal how long it was because I couldn't remember when they revealed that. I remember in a later book when they start talking about they dive into the history of this, which of course I won't reveal any of that, especially if we're not going to get into those books yet.
Maybe one day.
I remember learning the exact number of years or whatever it was. And in my mind, when we were talking earlier, I was like, oh, we don't learn it until book 2, so I can't reveal that it's been centuries. But then there it is on page 3. It says centuries.
Yeah.
There we go. It's been centuries. Okay. It's been at least multiple hundreds of years.
Yeah. We have at least a ballpark of time frame.
Which explains how cool. That metal gets worn down so much over that time. And really, as you were saying, evokes that imagery of
grime,
of time, of length, of just life being lived, and how I didn't highlight it, but there's a line where he talks about one molecule at a time. Loved it so much.
Yeah. That's what I was really digging about this author, is that he's just talking about the things around, and it just builds this world so well. It feels really well built out. And I mean, the fact that, I will mention this later when we get to the whole everything that happens later, which it's wild to me that this was a single self-contained story. There's no wonder people were clamoring for more. What did you do with this world? What is this place? What is happening? There are so many questions asked and just left unanswered. I'm I can see why people wanted this to continue rolling, because what the hell?
Absolutely.
So, but yeah, so moving on to going back to why he's going to his death, why he wants to climb these stairs and go outside. We find out about his wife and the 3 years prior. And I
love the time jumps back and forth on that.
Same. I was gonna reference that. It reminds me of I know you didn't like it, but Lost. Lost was a good example of here's the situation. Now let's look at what got us here. And I love that kind of storytelling. I think it's a lot of fun to have this dire situation and then step back to this calm situation where we unpack everything and then we get right back to the dire. It's just that's a great way to tell a story for me.
I agree. I was also thinking about something else with the time jumps, the way he was telling the story, how he goes back 3 years ago and then present day. And I was realizing that present day, despite being this 42 pages of text in this short story that is part 1 of the book, the time from when he is climbing the stairway to the end is such a short amount of time. But because of the jump backs, he was able to really extend that out for that entire, first part of the book. And I was really enjoying that, especially on this reread, because we talked about before, I don't really reread things. And so when you asked me why, this is one of my favorite books and why Hugh Howey is one of my favorite authors, I kind of forgot, honestly. I forgot about his writing style and how good it is and how the way he evokes language and makes you think about things in his word choices. It's so rich and so interesting. But having watched Silo, the TV show, more recently than having read the books, you lose a lot of that, as is the case in book to movie or TV show adaptations. I think Silo at the show is fantastic, and I highly recommend anybody who likes these books to watch it. However, it loses so much of that. In fact, I have an example that I wanted to comment on for exactly that I highlighted here.
Go for it.
Yeah. So, it's a little bit farther into this, about halfway through here, but he's talking about how, I guess, do we want to kind of bring up what happens to Allison, his wife, before I get into this? It's a quote about that.
It doesn't matter. By all means, jump around the section all you want, and I am going to go back because there are things I want to touch on, but by all means, if you got a train of thought, run with it.
Yeah. So there's one section. So Allison the reason that Holston wants to go outside, again, spoilers here, is because his wife went outside. And she, that's the 3 years ago story that is told, is her wanting to go outside and what leads to that. And then, of course, we see Holston processing all of that and then wanting to go outside as well. And in the part where she's about to go outside, he says he couldn't see Allison's face through her silver masked helmet, couldn't see her thin arms through the bulky suit as she scrubbed and scrubbed with her wool pads, but he knew her walk, her mannerisms. And just the way that's written, I loved it. It's just so, it gives me so much about how he feels about her, how he knows her, the length of the relationship and how well they know each other. And like that style of writing is just what draws me into Hugh Howey and his work.
Yeah. Yeah. That, it's funny because you mentioning that it segues perfectly into what I was going to say next. Because this is really the first introduction that we have to her as a character. I mean, probably the last. But they're talking about the pregnancy lottery and how they had been trying. And there's a little entry that says they're trying everything with the blue under Holston's eyes, all of it ridiculous and desperate and fun. And that just felt so real. Like you don't do that shit because you think it's going to work. You do that shit because it's part of the experience. And like, I remember when I was trying to have a kid, I remember doing silly things like that because, hey, who knows? Could be, you tie a ribbon around your the drive shaft of a new car. It's the silly, superstitious things that people do that just make it feel so real. And if that's not a true relationship right there, like this man has been in love. Hugh has been in love. You can tell.
Absolutely.
And then in the next paragraph, they build you all that with, obviously there's so much passion in this relationship and there's, a lot of love here. And then in the next paragraph, it ends with a sudden lack of wife. And that just like, that hits you like a ton of bricks.
Yes.
Like, oh shit, dude.
Yes. I love that line. I went back and read it multiple times.
Strong. Yeah. Oof. I actually, I underlined that and wrote oof next to it.
Yeah. A sudden lack of wife.
Yeah, just like that. That's a rough way to put that because that's life. I mean, it sucks, but here it is.
Yeah.
So rolling into chapter 2, there were a couple things that there was actually he referred to as though the lens had oil rubbed on it twice, which kind of bothered me because have you ever seen a lens with oil rubbed on it? You can't see anything. It's not blurry. It is just a blob.
No, that's not true. As a photographer, I can tell you that's not the case. So when you put grease on a lens, it actually gives things kind of a soft feel to it. You actually see it a lot in classic movies where like they cut between the male lead and the female lead, and the male lead is crisp and easy to see. And then the female lead is kind of like this ethereal, glowing, soft feel. And that's what happens when you put grease on the lens. So that's exactly what he was talking about.
Okay. All right. So you see what I imagined was more of a film, like more of an actual grease. Cause yes, in photography, what you're saying, I completely understand and agree. And it didn't occur to me that could be as simple as that. What I was thinking is
like a transparent oil versus a opaque oil. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, not an opaque oil necessarily, but like something thicker, like more of a Vaseline style. That was kind of what my
Vaseline's exactly what they used back in the old days. Actually,
are you serious? Oh, see, I'm learning something. 100%. So I thought it was kind of an overshot of an analogy. But you know photography better than I do. I did it for a very short time.
Yeah, it was something that like it just like in the 1920s and 30s, those movies, even 40s, of course, they greased the lens with Vaseline, literally, or other petroleum jellies, and made that soft glow. Yeah,
I stand corrected. Okay, I thought that was a little extreme, but okay, that makes sense. I could see how that would make it a little blurry rather than completely just unrecognizable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So on the next page, it mentions the only books to survive the uprising, which is the first clue we get of an uprising, which is an interesting little tidbit. And I thought the next line was really kind of cool because they're talking about how in books there were purple elephants and pink birds, and he's doubting their existence. And what a strange thought. Like if that were the only thing to survive hundreds of years from now, would people actually think that birds were pink or elephants were purple? What a bizarre thing. If that's your only source of reference, that's a fun little tidbit about the world, or at least of this specific silo.
When I read that, I thought about all the kids' books I read with my kids, where it's just like these fanciful drawings, like, Curious George or Harold and the Purple Crayon style. And like they see an elephant that's purple. Like I can see that in a Curious George book. And as, as people who know elephants look like, you don't think, oh, or elephants are purple. You just think, oh, hey, that's an elephant. And the stylistic choice is that it is purple, and kids don't question it. But if you've never seen an elephant before and it's drawn in purple, well, you're going to think, were elephants purple? Like, were there animals that were purple?
You just take that as
out there?
Fact.
I mean, there are birds that are pink, like parrots and such, but they're usually mixed with other colors. But to get the idea that all birds are pink is wild.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's what just really caught me off guard. Like, oh, that's really, really fascinating. Like, you don't have animals. Mm-hmm. What else do you look at? That is, if that's your only point of reference, just awesome. I really, really dug that. That was such a fun little detail to add. But moving on, when he is talking to Jans, I don't know how to pronounce that, but the mayor, it mentions the ration of tobacco, which stood out to me. There may be further discussion on this in the future and in the book, but what a waste of a crop. Like, you've got so little space, so little oxygen, so little manpower. Tobacco, really? Like, is that what you're choosing to grow?
I've never thought about that. Like, I guess, I don't know. Like, why would they choose tobacco? I've got some ideas, but I don't want to get into them because my ideas are spoilers. I don't think there's a good explanation. Honestly, like, thinking about that, I don't want to get into the origins of this world. So I can't really talk to that, but yeah, it just seems like a interesting choice.
That's fair. I'm glad that there's something in relation to whether or not there's an answer to that, but I'm interested to find out more about that, because that really threw me off. Just seems like what a waste of a crop. Not to mention something that is combustible and something that will burn oxygen faster. And I don't know what their oxygen source is at this point, yada, yada, et cetera, et cetera.
Is tobacco like hemp that you can make clothes and stuff out of it?
I don't believe so. I could be mistaken. This is certainly not my area of expertise.
Yeah.
But
I mean, if it was hemp, if it was like cannabis, it would make sense to me, because like the leaves and stuff can be used to make other materials, ropes, clothes, whatever, that would absolutely be useful and not a waste of a crop. It would be like multiple use, but tobacco, I don't know. Interesting.
Yeah. It seemed like an interesting crop to have chosen.
I'll keep it in the back of our heads as we keep reading.
Yeah, I definitely want to kind of log that in the back burner. But moving on, the next paragraph, it ends with nothing seemed true anymore. And that was another one of those things that just really hit me. It's like, God, that's like the lack of wife line. It's like, I think that's exactly how losing your significant other would feel. Like that feels so real. It's like, it makes me kind of want to look up this Hugh Howey's past. Like, did he have it felt very, very personal.
Yeah. I don't know if he's just writing. He just is a really good writer. If he's writing from experience, I'm not sure. I think that he's just a really good writer based on what I know of him, but I haven't dived into his life too in depth.
Well, for his sake, I hope he's just a really good writer.
Right.
But moving on down this page a little bit later is where they say a century and a half ago. So that's the closest to
for the time frame that we have for the uprising, right? Was a century and a half ago.
Well, for one of our records, don't go back to the beginning. They only go back before the uprising a century and a half ago. So that's the one that they're aware of. But I'm just curious to know. I'm very curious to learn more about that, because the fact that, as we'll get into in a moment here, speaking with Allison, going through the records and everything, we get into the multiple uprisings, which is kind of cool. And I really want to know.
Reveal there.
Yeah. Every 20 years or so. That's fascinating.
And then suddenly they stopped for 150 years.
Yeah.
Like, why?
Yeah. Yeah. That really, really got me. That really intrigued me. So I'm like, I was already in, but once we started digging into the cyclical nature, and then all of a sudden it stops, like, okay, what the hell? What happened there? Because there was certainly an inciting event.
Right. Absolutely.
And so later down this page, I thought it was a really fun little, not only a relationship bit, but a question always worth asking is, who says we're the good guys? I just had to note that because I feel like that might be something that comes back later.
Right? Who says we're the good guys? I like that a lot. That's something I think about in a lot of media that I watch. Do characters in like movies and TV show, do they think about that? Do they wonder like, are we the bad guys here? Because of course you want your characters to be able to justify their actions. And so like you wonder, like, do they ever stop and think about that? And I like that she's pointing that out. Like we as in the collective whole of the silo.
Who's to say?
Well, are you so sure we're the good guys?
Yeah.
Which really gives us that insight to her thinking of these uprisings. Like maybe there's something to them.
Yeah, for sure. She's stumbled across something that will ultimately lead to, as we know, to her death by choice in her case. But it sounds like if she had continued down this road, she probably would have gotten sent there anyway.
Very possible.
But yeah, so it's a really interesting, not only a really fun setup for their relationship. Well, not setup, but a continuation, a building of their relationship. But the world as a whole, it really kind of, these are the questions I was talking about that it poses. Like, oh, are they? Like, oh, I have no idea. So I just thought that little bit was fun. And then we roll back to present time, and he says that the top floor of the silo, when the screens were showing the outside, was usually empty for cleanings. And that surprises me. That would surprise me rather, right? If anything like that were to happen every 3 to 5 years is what they're saying, I feel like that would become a spectacle. That would become something that people want to see, even if they don't care for you. They want to see, what else is happening inside of a silo. It feels like it would be a much more of a spectacle.
Yeah, much more of a community event of like watching this happen. When I was reading that, I was thinking about how like, public hangings and people would come to watch.
That's what I'm saying.
And so like if this person is being sent outside to clean, it's the morbid curiosity. It's the like wanting to see the outcome of this. Now, granted, I don't think that people see those that go outside because they say they want to clean as terrible people. So like in a public hanging, people would probably see them as a criminal that they want to see justice served. Whereas they might not feel that way about the person being sent out, unless of course they're being sent out for crimes. But for saying I want to go out, people like sociologically, we might not think, oh, I want to watch this because I want to see that justice served. It might be more of a kind of an embarrassment. Like, I don't want to watch this person, go out to their death because I feel awkward about it. Yeah.
That could very well be. I don't know, just something that stood out. But even a final farewell, even if you don't like this person, it's something that occurs so rarely that I feel like it would become an event. Especially, like you said, especially if it's a crime beyond saying I want to go outside, which is wild to say. But then on the next page, it's talking about how he had watched Allison do her cleaning, and God damn, I can't even begin to imagine what that would feel like. Like how heartbreaking that would be. Just it breaks my heart. Their relationship, Hugh Howey built this relationship so well that I actually gave a shit when he was watching her clean. It's like, oh God, that's heartbreaking. Like it's grim. It's
my biggest complaint about this book is that he builds up these characters so well, the relationship so well, and then they both die and they aren't in the rest of the book.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
I mean, of course they're referenced, they're talked about. They the rest of the book feeds off of these events, but like then the characters are gone, and it's like, oh, but I loved those characters so much. I want more of them.
That's exactly it. It's like, I want to read more about these characters, but this is the beginning and end of their story. This is where we end. And unless we get flashbacks, which I'm not going to ask if that happens or not, just really, it's like, it was heartbreaking.
Yeah.
So it really, really struck me. So then he's putting on his suit, and so there was this part that said the animal part of his brain wasn't made for this, to be calmly ushered to a death it was perfectly aware of, which kind of made me pause for a second, because we've got livestock that literally walks to their death constantly. There is certainly a survival instinct to wilder animals, but to the to the character or the person that's been locked in a silo their entire life, would they not be more akin to livestock? It feels like that would be just kind of a natural acceptance. Like you've made I don't know. It just something that buzzed in the back of my mind, and I thought it was an interesting point to make, even though there are animals that are confined all their lives that simply do walk to their deaths.
Yeah. Read that quote again to me, because I'm trying to like process what he's saying there.
So he's getting his suit on. None of it was real enough to rebel against. The animal part of his mind wasn't made for this, to be calmly ushered to a death it was perfectly aware of.
Yeah. Like, I think he's basically saying that like, he's just broken at that point.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But it was an interesting way to put it, because they're like, yes, wild animals. That's absolutely the mentality, the natural instinct. But to the caged animal, which he is essentially amongst, I thought it was an interesting way of approaching that. But then the next paragraph, it says, as he's getting zipped up, another tug, another zip, 2 layers of futility. I'm like, oh God, that is grim.
Knowing that none of this fucking matters.
Yeah. Like why bother?
You're going to die just like everybody else.
Yeah. So that one really stuck out. It's like, Jesus, that is just, he's good at the turn of phrase. He's good at really just laying. It's like, well, here's the reality of it. It's like, this does not matter.
A little bit earlier in this section, well, I guess it's probably in a previous chapter, because it's like all so close in the present day stuff. But one of the lines that I just absolutely love, when he goes up and he tells his deputy to tell the mayor that he wants to go outside. It's written, he let out a sigh, that heavy breath he'd been holding for 3 years. Tell her I want to go outside. Yeah. And like that, like letting out the breath he's been holding for 3 years, that imagery, I love it so much. It really like just shows how these past 3 years without his wife have been torturing him, and how hard it's been to live without her.
Yeah. To wrap up the chapter that we were in, chapter 4, it's talking about, he glanced around the airlock. My life is too tight. He wanted to say, my skin is too tight. The walls are too tight. 30 plus years of being in the same place. Yeah, I'd say that's probably going to happen. It's just, it just really, really struck me as like, that would be, I'm not crazy claustrophobic, but if I sit still for too long, I get cabin fever. And that is like the extreme of cabin fever, right?
Yeah. That line is actually one of the lines I thought about while reading it this time, comparing it to the show, because I don't remember the show having that sort of power.
Claustrophobic.
Just in the way the writing is, like, read that section again.
Holston glanced around the airlock. My life is too tight, he wanted to say. My skin is too tight. The walls are too tight.
And then right after that, it says, I don't have it in front of me, but what's the paragraph after that, how it starts?
That's pretty close to the end of the chapter. He shook his head. I'm ready, he whispered. It was the truth. Yeah, Holston was oddly and truly very much ready to go. And actually, I underlined the next line real quick. And he said, he remembered suddenly how his wife had been ready as well. Yeah. So that whole thing is just like...
Definitely impactful with that part you highlighted, and I want to get back to that. But it was specifically what he wanted to say about too tight, life is too tight. But then what he actually says is okay, or I'm ready, whatever it was. I'm ready. And in the show, you don't get that internal. What's the word I'm looking for? That
struggle.
Yes, struggle is a great way of putting it. You don't get that internal struggle that he has, the emotions, the big emotions that he's feeling, what he wants to say. You just get the line of "I'm ready," and the actor, of course, has to display that on their faces and stuff like that. But it got me thinking about why I love Hugh Howey's writing style so much, in that he gives and also why books sometimes can be a lot more impactful than a movie or a show, because you get those internal thoughts in a way that you can't really show in a visual medium as well.
Right. Which is why movies typically aren't anywhere near as good as books, but there's certainly the
with some exceptions.
Yeah. But that certainly stood out to me, and especially with the last line that I had mentioned, the remembering how ready his wife had been as well. That's Like, damn, dude, like just walking out to, well, I mean, you find out that she doesn't think she's walking out to her death. And at this point he doesn't as well. he's torn.
He's not sure. He definitely isn't sure. He doesn't know what's going to happen. He just knows that he wants to be with his wife, whether she's alive or dead.
Yeah, exactly. And hell, after 3 years, who can blame him? That's rough. So, moving on to chapter 5, again, another flashback. It's starting with Allison just losing her shit. And this is where you find out, I mean, it alludes to it earlier, the fact that that's the law. Like if you say you want to go outside, you have broken the law and you got to go outside. Mm-hmm. And that is just a wild concept. Like even wonder is prohibited. That is such a strange concept.
Right. Like what are they hiding? Why do they not want you to go outside?
Yeah. Yeah. That
what do they think is going to happen?
Right. That alone makes me think there's something more sinister going on. Which, I mean, with the whole helmet thing later, which we'll get to, but Jesus Christ, what a roller coaster.
I mean, like as is revealed in this section of the book, we know that you go outside, you actually die. So the idea that like they're hiding something, it really opens up that question of like, what in the world are they hiding? Why is this such a scary thing? Because if they're being honest with us and they're saying you go outside and you die, then why would people want to go outside at all? And like, why is it such a big deal to say you want to go outside? Like, are they worried about another uprising? And if so, why? I love the questions.
So many questions.
The mystery.
Yeah, that's what I was alluded to. I just love the way this is kind of. It really, at first, it's like you go outside, you die. This man is sad. He wants to go outside and kill himself because his wife did the same. Okay, that's sad. It's a very tragic story. But now we're getting all these little layers and little tidbits that are making me think, oh, there's a bit more going on here. It's not just there was a nuclear war and everything is radiation outside and you die. Then that's a lot simpler. But this, the way they're setting it up for intrigue and asking so many questions, and the metaphors that they're using for the revolution, it really. One of them that stuck out to me was the enormous pent-up pressure of the place was now hissing through the seams of whispers. It's like they're talking about the revolution like a valve, and it's so appropriate for where they are, the living situation, the pressure. I just love the metaphor. I thought it was really, really cool.
Yeah, and Holston talks frequently about feeling the pressure, like the pressure of the silo and what people are feeling and thinking.
Yeah. And it's so metaphorical, but also so physical. And I love the double. It's just fantastic. Very well done. And then on the next page, it's the first time Allison says it's not real. And I underlined that and said, what the fuck? What are you talking about? It's not real.
Right.
And a little later down the page, when he decides he's going to go in, which is apparently also illegal, I loved the metal clink ring out impossibly loud. You ever tried to sneak into a house after you're supposed to be home?
No, I haven't.
Everything is the loudest thing. Well, not obviously, neither have I, but
of course not. No.
Of course not. No, I did some things in my youth. But anyway, you never realize how loud door locks are or how loud that creaking board is in your hallway until you're not supposed to be using it in the middle of the night.
Well, I haven't tried to sneak back in. I have definitely tried to not make noise to wake people up just to be polite. And I've had the exact same experience, oh man, why is everything so loud? Closing the door so loud, like putting my kids to sleep and trying to close the door as I leave the room. Like, this is so loud. It's going to wake them back up. Yeah. Especially when they're babies.
Yeah. So funny to me that just rings so true for me. Like that is the loudest thing in the world.
Yeah.
Then moving on, she's talking about it could be morning right now and we'd never know. There could be people outside. They could be watching us. Like that didn't even come close to occurring to me until she said that. It's like, whoa, okay.
Yeah.
So these are video feeds. That hadn't occurred to me at that point or until this point.
Not like a live window or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Like
I figured, okay, it's just a viewport.
A computer of some sort. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. An opportunity for manipulation is what that is.
Mm-hmm.
And when she said that, it's like, oh shit, that just started my mind reeling in the direction that hers obviously did as well.
And of course, at this point in time, you don't know that the outside will actually kill you. So when you're reading that, you're just like, okay, what did she discover? Like, what is this? Like, what is going on? And I love it.
Right. Exactly. And that's what I love. This, we talked about, I know you said that J.J. Abrams was involved in some way, but this feels like Hugh Howey took a lot of inspiration from Abrams. Like he's got the very much the what's in the box style of storytelling, which I absolutely love.
Yeah, and J.J. Abrams wasn't involved at all with like Silo. We were talking about Revolution, but yeah.
Oh, snap. Okay. My bad.
Yeah.
You're right. Yeah. You're right. But this does feel like his style of storytelling, though.
Yeah, I can see that. Absolutely.
Slowly peeling back the onions and finding more questions to be asked.
Mm-hmm.
Because then later down, she says, I found the programs they use. Mm-hmm. The one that makes the pictures on the screen look so real. It's like, what the fuck? What are you talking about? Like things are getting weird, and I really dig it.
Mm-hmm. Makes it look so real. It's so good.
Let's see.
So good.
Oh yeah. And then back to the gradual leak thing on the next, there is no uprising. Not really. There's just a gradual leak. Like I dig that metaphor. Really, really cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like a gradual leak of the pressure of the wanting to get out, of the feeling of being cooped up and being stuck, and like the claustrophobia you were talking about. And, which actually makes me think, I wonder, like, if claustrophobia is a thing in a world like that, where all you've known is being confined. Like, are there some people who just like go crazy in the world who have claustrophobia, but like everybody else who doesn't because they've been conditioned not to feel that way? Is it like, I'm curious now. I don't know. I don't remember if they tackle that. There is something that we'll deal with later that I think is kind of similar, but I don't remember what the outcome was. And I don't want to spoil anything of what I do remember.
All right. And then that was one of the things, like, to the exact opposite of that. I thought of both Allison and ultimately Holston, however you pronounce his name. When they first step out, can you imagine that sense of agoraphobia? That sense of space that they would feel having been locked away for their entire lives.
Never had that open expanse.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That is like almost terrifying to think about. Yeah. Like anything could come at you from any direction. We've always had these walls to protect you from every side. Very strange. Mm-hmm. That must be the most unsettling thing in the world. Exactly the opposite of claustrophobia.
Like, let's say they survive. That would take some some adjusting to get used to, like, the
not having a back to your wall, wall to your back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy to think about. So going back to present time in chapter 6, they mention again how it's kind of how he's kind of detached from reality. And again, I can only imagine this is how it would feel to lose a spouse. It's just, that is such a rough thing to do. And I really like the last line on that page. The first year had been her failure. The last year had been his, but no more. It's like the way that he's thinking of this thing is so detached from reality, but we don't know that yet because it could very well be reality. And it just, the way that's introduced is just, or the way that's laid out is just like, oh, if she's alive, then yes, he's absolutely correct. But of course we find out that that's not the case. And it's just such an interesting way to look at it. I found that really an impactful line. And then the next page, it mentions the nutrients going to, as his parents had, into the soil of the 8th floor dirt farm, which I was excited to see. Okay, it's cool. So they actually did put some thought into the science of how this place survived for the centuries that it's been.
Oh, absolutely. And there's a lot more of that gets revealed throughout.
I figured that was probably the case, but this is the first mention of it. It's like, oh, okay, good. There was some thought in there. This is not just a complete fantasy, which is, I appreciate complete fantasies, but this one feels like it should be a bit more grounded.
When the science is grounded.
Yes.
even if it's sci-fi, even if there's things that, we can't really do with current technology. Not that I'm saying anything like that in here, but I like it when the science is at least grounded and it feels like it's based in reality.
Yeah, it feels like somebody did their research.
Yeah, then there's things like Andy Weir where it's like, that is hard science fiction. Like it's all real science and real numbers and math and stuff. And like, that's way over my head most of the time, but I appreciate it. And then there's the like, this is like, I'd say mid. It's not like hard. It's not soft. It's like mid. It's like, we're going to talk about the things that matter, but not necessarily get into the like math and like very specifics about it.
Yeah. They don't make it so you have to suspend your disbelief, but they don't bore you with the science. I completely agree with that. That being said, Andy Weir's Project Hail Mary. Oh my God, what a wonderful book.
It's good.
If you've read that, okay.
Bringing it back to Silo, to Wool, and talking about the sci-fi, the dirt farm, as you were mentioning, like you love that they included that, but to kind of back up even more with that section, I really appreciated that the character Holston thought about how he wasn't going to be turned into these nutrients. That he was like taking himself out of that cycle. And it was something that like went through his mind as he's going outside
a big deal.
To live or die at that point. Yeah.
Yeah. To not contribute to the society that has contributed to you. Really. I mean, that's the long and the short of it. It's a hell of a choice. You're taking your nutrients and your life force out of the cycle. And that I did also underline that. And that's pretty notable. That's a big choice.
Yeah. In fact, that's the reason that I don't want to be buried in a casket. I want to be buried in the ground with the ability of my nutrients, my energy going back to feeding the
Ender style. Hell yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like
me too.
You know what I'm talking about. I want to be buried with a tree in my chest.
Yeah, absolutely. That is what is that? Shadow? No, that's not Shadow. That's the second Speaker of the Dead.
Speaker for the Dead.
The second of the Ender series. Yeah. Weird book. Good book. Weird book.
Weird and good.
I enjoyed that whole series though, as bizarre as it got. But moving back to Wool. So he, moving on to the next page, he steps out and he is confused that he's not already above ground, which kind of threw me too. But then you think about it more. It's like, oh, well, obviously they're not going to have the tip of the silo poking out. That's dumb. But it would have confused me as well.
I was noticing that as well when you were talking about the view screens. I almost wanted to bring this up, but I didn't want to skip ahead too much. I love that concept of like, it feels like you can see what's out there. So when you leave and you're not on that same level, it's got to be a mind fuck.
Oh, I'd imagine so. Yeah. Just stepping out into a completely different scenery and not realizing, oh, wow, there are cameras way above me. That just kind of a trip. But here's where I made the note of the agoraphobia, because this is when he steps out and everything is dizzy from the sight of so much green, which, you would be. Oh, yeah. So you mentioned the green, and I like that that's how they reveal it in the book, too. Like, that's the first mention. Like, suddenly it doesn't look so desolate anymore. Yeah. It looks lush and green, and the white clouds and the skyscrapers that were, absolutely destroyed in their view are now full, and there's more of them. And I don't remember if there were birds or anything like that, but it's just like all of that. Like, really solid. Yeah. Very, very exciting. It's like, oh my God, his wife was right. Oh, that's so cool. And so he thinks he realizes why, because he wants everyone inside to see, oh my God, it's green. Look at it. It's so cool. That's why they come back and clean. And then we find out that it's fucking sinister. Yes. But before that, I want to point out, and that's where the title of the book comes from, Cleaning with Your Little Patch of Wool. Oh, I didn't even notice that. You know what? That makes perfect sense. I actually highlighted one of the passages earlier when they first mentioned, Allison cleans with her wool. And I'm like, that's the first time they mentioned wool. And that's that connection. It's wool for the wool that you clean the lenses with. But there's more, which we'll get into in a second, and I'll come back to. Okay. And then total aside, I don't know if you're a Family Guy fan or not. Oh, absolutely. So there was an early seasons, Peter has this little gag that every time he's watching a movie and they say the name of the movie, he does his little laugh, So now every single time Ash and I are watching a movie and they say the name, I do that laugh. And so I almost did it when you said, because I haven't even put two and two together. So it just made me think of that. It's like, oh, that's hilarious. Neither here nor there, but it made me chuckle.
Right.
Oh man. So yeah. So moving on, we've got, let's see, where are we? So he sees the green, which is super exciting. He thinks he realizes why people clean. Well, he does realize why people clean because they want their innies, I suppose, to see the outside world.
Innies reference to Severance there.
Yeah. Thank you. And I like the line, he was like an adult child born into a wide world, so much to piece together all at once that his head throbbed. Yeah. And when you first read that, it's like, yeah, you would be overwhelmed. Your head would start throbbing. But now I'm thinking, that's not why your head's throbbing, bro. Like that, right? That's probably not a good sign. It's like, oh, the first signs that you don't even notice.
I actually hadn't picked up on that. That's really good. Because as you're probably about to mention, a little bit later, he starts to, feel it in his stomach. Yep. And then it starts getting worse. Mm-hmm. And that was absolutely the first sign of that before, we distributed elsewhere. What was going on. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. Crazy. So now he's wondering how many people know about this, how many people know there's green out here and yada, yada. And, is it an attempt to control? Is it an attempt to keep people from wanting out? But then it gets to the point where he sees that there are more buildings than usual. And I was like, whoa, okay. So there is a society out here. This thing is about to blow up. And then you find out, oh, that's not what's happening here. We don't know if those buildings exist or not because he's feeling things that aren't in his view screen and his view screen goes black and da 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 da. Mm-hmm. But the thing that stood out to me on that page as well was he wasn't sure why, but it's what his wife had done, what all the other cleaners before him had done. And that is such a human nature thing to just follow suit because it's the way it's done, even if it doesn't make sense. Mm-hmm. And that almost irritated me, but it's so real. It's hard to get irritated because that is just who we are as creatures.
Yeah, absolutely.
But what was also running through my head here as this chapter closed out, it's like, so we're assuming at this point that everyone is alive and everyone that was a cleaner is alive. We quickly find out that that's not the case in the next 3 pages. But what I wrote down on this page was, so if people that break the law are typically the cleaners, let's hope these aren't the only people populating society. Because that could make for a really rough society if that were the case.
I mean, so it depends on why they're sent out though, right? Like if it's because they committed murder and so the punishment is to go outside, that is obviously you're going to be faced with people who are going to be more violent and stuff like that. But if it's the people who are curious, the people who are like, I think the wool's being pulled over my eyes. The wool. Second reference to the title.
Yep.
I like that.
I do.
I was going to say that earlier, but I was waiting until a better moment. That was it.
No, that's perfect.
So for the people who are curious, they're saying like, oh, the wool's been pulled over my eyes. I want to go see what's out there. Those curious people are absolutely the people who I would want to see start a new society.
Oh, 100%. That's the thing. You're going to have that dichotomy between the two groups. Mm-hmm. Like you're going to have half the population, the curious, the scientific, the wondering type, which is the exact type, like you said, the exact person you want to build a society with. Then you have the other side.
I also just realized something, and I'm afraid to say it because I'm afraid that it's going to be spoiler for other stuff, but I don't think so. But that just occurred to me that they're sending out to die all of the curious people.
Yeah. That's right. That's exactly what I was thinking.
Manage things. Like the ones who are going to look into and try to figure things out and figure out what's going on are the ones that you're getting rid of.
Yeah. Yeah. Like what kind of thought process? But then again, that's also the most likely type to rebel.
Mm-hmm. So exactly.
Yeah, there's a sharp line there. It's a crazy concept and I'm here for it. I love it. So then we roll into chapter 7, the last in this part. And the first thing I notice is the years and years of running up and down 30 flights of stairs should have made this nothing. And it made me think like, oh my God, everyone in there should be really fit, right? Mm-hmm. That is your space. You probably have, well, let's guess what a silo is. What is it? Maybe 40 to 50 feet across. Maybe 100.
Yeah.
So that's the horizontal area. Everything else is vertical. So no matter what you do, whatever your life looks like, whatever your job is, you're going to have to move up and down stairs all damn day.
Like the cafeteria is on one level, dormitories are on another level.
Yeah.
Like he mentions a few different of the levels throughout there. And if I remember correctly, like we've got medical center on one level and stuff like that. So
I'd imagine,
have to be going
up and down, up and down.
Another thing that is revealed, though, is, and this isn't really a spoiler, is that there's runners, people who go up and down for you to do things, to communicate. And so I
talk about fit.
Yeah. So there could be people who aren't fit in that world.
Sure.
They just never leave their area. They like the runners go get their food or whatever, the silo Uber drivers.
Yeah. So that just, it occurred to me like that should be like the most fit society ever. But you're absolutely right. There would be people too lazy that can boss other people around. Yeah.
Yeah.
Never escape it. But so he starts having issues. He starts having these pains and whatnot. And my first thought was, dude, how much oxygen did they give you? Obviously, they're not going to need to give you a ton, and they don't have a ton to spare except for to grow tobacco, apparently.
And then he mentions that he comments on like how
he does the next page.
Oh yeah, they wouldn't get why would they give me enough oxygen?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that it struck me like you probably want to take your suit off and hope that the air is good because you're going to deplete your reserves very, very quickly. Yeah,
you're either going to die because you ran out of oxygen and didn't take your suit off. Yeah. Or you may die because you take your suit off. So might as well take the risk.
Yeah. So, and then he starts fumbling with it and it's talking about how his gloves are too big and the latches aren't made to come off. It's like, dude, my note was like, is this a silly design or a sinister design? Like something's up here. This is almost too intentional.
Yeah. I can't wait until you learn more.
I'm so looking forward to it.
I can't give the spoiler, but like, oh my God, I'm excited for you to learn about this more because your curiosity is great.
Well, I'm definitely gonna, man, because I'm hooked. I'm in. I'm 100% on board. So that's most of it. Blinking the tears away, lung full of blue air was on the next page. I was like, oh, that is like such a good way to say it. And then he realizes the world is brown and exactly what he thought it was going to be. It's like, oh, fuck, dude, what a roller coaster. My God.
Yeah.
So that is essentially the end. And then he curls up next to Allison.
Yeah, that was God. So good. But like the discovery that what the blue he was seeing was an image in his visor that was fake. I was thinking about that's augmented reality. That is like, it's just like having a pair of, I don't know,
an Oculus,
I guess like Apple's Vision Pro or whatever on your head. And like it's feeding everything in from the outside, but it's augmenting it. And so it's making it look green and lush. And that, as we discover, is what Allison was talking about when she mentioned the programs make it, look like whatever they want you to see. And so here it is of what they want you to see because you see this lush world, you believe it's real, and you want everybody else to be able to see it as well. So you go
That's
clean
why
those
you come
lenses.
back and clean.
Now, part of me wonders, like, if you know that it's beautiful and the lenses are showing ugly, what's the point of cleaning the lenses? Because like they're not going to see what you see. So part of me is like, what's going on there? But I think that the explanation in World would be that you're just so excited and you lose kind of a little bit of your rational thought. And so it's like, look, can you see this? I'm cleaning so you can see this. And you forget that no, they can't because they see something else.
Right, exactly. Or you assume that, hey, this has happened since the lenses got so shitty we can't really see through them. Oh my God, I need to clean them so that we can now. It's been 3 years.
That's a good way of thinking about it. I bet you some people do feel that way. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just to program something to give somebody so much hope just to dash it, just so they do a single job. Oh God, that is fucked. That is so, oh man, that's rough. So yeah, all in all, I am, like I said, I'm hooked. I cannot believe that was meant to be a single story, Hugh.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. Like you can't just write that and just leave that out in the world and let that be what it is. That's wild.
I don't know what his thoughts or like, maybe it was he just had these ideas for this world and it was just really a great storytelling technique to present all these questions and let the reader guess at what it is. I love stories like that.
Oh, sure.
I can't think of any specifics, but like, I feel like a lot of like Ray Bradbury was that way where you would like just get this world building and then not know all the answers and have to think about it. And that really kind of, that lets you as the reader really be an active participant in this story, and that you have to think through what you think it might have been, and then maybe even never know the answer. And of course, in this case,
yes,
we do get an answer, and I feel it's incredibly satisfying. But I have a feeling when Hugh originally wrote it, he kind of meant it to be like those short stories by like Ray Bradbury and others, where it just does this incredible world building and lets you kind of
fill in
think
the blanks
for yourself. Fill in the blanks. Oh,
yeah.
I love that kind of storytelling.
I completely agree. I am so excited to read the rest of this book. But speaking of, unless you have any final thoughts for this chunk, I think we're pretty well wrapping up.
I mean, just in general, I wanted to say, like, as I was mentioning earlier, now going into the next section, it is brand new characters for the most part. You've got Jans, the mayor, and you've got Marnes, I think is his name, the deputy, and they fill in that hole for you as you move on with the story. But I definitely felt a little, I don't know, grief, I guess, for these characters that we just lost, and wishing that we had them. And I was a little disappointed not having those characters anymore reading on, because then I had to learn new characters and like learn to love new characters.
Sure.
And I think it took me a little while to get into that. So that's something to be aware of as you go into the next section, that it's a little jarring to now have a different set of characters, but also you do learn to love.
So we're essentially starting a new book with a little bit of context.
Right. That's kind of how I feel about it. It's like you're starting a brand new book, but now you have the context of the world and what led up to this story, because now it's a story about another character who I don't think you meet right away, but you meet fairly quickly, or at least you learn about fairly quickly.
That's a good heads up.
And it's good, and I love it. And it just, like, you learn to love those characters, of course, in the same way. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what you think of the rest of it.
Well, with his writing style, man, I can't see me not falling in love with more characters that he writes. I'm really impressed with the way he writes. I've never read anything of his, and that's exciting. I'm looking forward to diving in. Yeah.
I went from reading this short story, of course, to, as I mentioned, like in the earlier half of this podcast, how I get deep into reading, and I just I absorbed all the stuff of his that I could. I mean, there was more that I didn't get to, because I did finally get to a point that I was like, all right, I'm ready for something else. And then I never jumped back in. But like, I read all 3 of the Silo series books. I read Sand. I haven't read the sequel to Sand because it came out after I kind of stopped reading Hugh Howey stuff. I need to go back and read more of it, especially after this. I'm probably going to jump back into the sequel to Sand and then other stuff. And I read Beacon 22, I think is what it's called, Beacon something, and that was good. Not as good as Wool and Silo and Sand, but yeah, it's all great stuff, and I want to read more of his writing. I really enjoy his writing style.
So far I can see why.
Yeah, I can't remember if the Beacon stuff was written before or after Wool, but I felt like the Beacon stuff wasn't written as well as Silo. And which makes me think that it was probably beforehand. And if so, it's kind of like I was talking about with Terry Pratchett, how he gets better as he writes more. But I mean, maybe it was after, and it just wasn't as good as Wool, which is a possibility. Not every idea can be amazing.
You burn your first good idea.
Like Douglas Adams had his amazing idea of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, wrote 5 books of the Hitchhiker's trilogy. And then he tried to write other stuff that wasn't nearly as successful. I read some of it, not all of it. And I wasn't as hooked. It wasn't bad, but man, Hitchhikers was what I love. That idea.
Oh, epic.
Wool is this world I love, but I also think Hugh Howey is an incredible writer. And I wish he got more recognition. I don't think many people know who he is. But
here's hoping this helps.
Yeah.
Right.
Hugh, you're welcome if this helped, help him get more readers.
Yeah, right. Right. So with that all being said, this chunk was 42 pages, right? Mm-hmm. Speaking of Hitchhikers, 42, pretty funny that we start with that.
Yep.
For the readers that are following along, we are going to dive into part 2, Proper Gauge. And we're going to be reading all the way through to part 3. What is that called, Michael? Do you know offhand?
Casting Off.
Casting Off. Okay, so we're going to be reading the entirety of Proper Gauge all the way up to the beginning of Casting Off. And the likelihood of it being split into 2 pieces is pretty high because we saw how long this took to to chat about, but maybe not. We'll see. But I hope you all enjoyed, and I hope you all are enjoying the book so far, and we cannot wait to continue reading it with you.
I look forward to talking about Proper Gauge next time.
Yeah. All right, folks. Hope you all have a great one.
Thank you so much for spending your time with us between the covers of today's story. If you'd like to help keep Shelf Indulgence alive and growing, you'll find our Patreon link in the description. Your support helps write the next chapter. A rating or review wherever you listen also helps other readers discover us and means more to me than you know. Most of all, thank you so much for being a part of this journey. I truly hope you'll keep turning the pages with us. Book by book, story by story. We'll see you next time.